to be holy. How does a person be holy? So, there are many answers. Rashi explains, Kedoshim to you, to be holy. And he translates the word holy to be porish. Porish means to separate. Separate means that there are many things that you'll have lust and desire. So, you have an act of holiness. Are you being separated? So now, you have to understand. Basically, holiness is a gift from Hashem. So how can you become holy? What do you do to become holy? So Rashi says, you separate. Porish, stay away from food, stay away from things. And the Ramban goes further and says that even there are things that are mutter, that are allowed to you, not only things that are not allowed to you, you should separate. Even those things that are allowed to you, you should separate. If not, you'll be called a menuvel b'shus haTorah. The person will be religious and following the rules, but in the end, he's not kind, he's not so nice. He finds always loopholes in the law, not to help the next person, not to do mitzvahs, or not to be kind, not to be just, not to find these loopholes. So in ways, I'm okay, I'm technically okay, but in a way, that's not how a sweet, God-fearing person should live and be. A God-fearing person has to be like God-fearing, somebody sweet, somebody just, somebody moral, somebody in a very spiritual way. So now you're going to say, thank you. Okay. Now you're going to say that I'm religious. There are some that talk about tznius. A girl can be tznius, yet she's not so tznius. She wears these certain tight skirts. She'll walk in a certain way. So in a way, she's technically, her sleeves are here, her hat's here, but her mannerism, her speech, the way she walks, the way she thinks is not tznius. So therefore, that's cool. A thing which you may be allowed, the Ramban says, but still, it's not the way to tell. It's not the derech. It's not the proper way to tell. Therefore, the Ramban says, that is the quality called being kadosh, holy, that a person can be a menuvel, like a nevela, bad in Yeshiva, in the domain of Torah. So technically, may look religious and feel religious, but in a certain sense, he's nowhere near the feeling, the understanding of what a sweet Jew is, what a religious Jew, what a pious Jew is supposed to be. So these are the basic ways that everybody searches and seeks about holiness. Now came one of our great rabbis, called Rabbi Isaac Sher, who was a Rosh Yeshiva in Slabodka. He's a very big yeshiva. I was fortunate to meet him. I'm fortunate to help him also. And he comes along and he wants to give another translation to me. I want to read it to you. I want to explain what he does. What does he gain? What step does he do? Translates the word for kedusha to the word called chashivas, value. So by giving value, the result will be staying away. Okay, let's start. Holiness, again, God gives it to you. You can't buy holiness. So you go to the store, I want 10 boxes of holiness. I think that if I do 33 things, if I have holiness, it doesn't work. Holiness can be multiplied, subtracted with different types of holiness. Holiness is a thing which God gives you. There are ways in which you do things, like mitzvahs have holiness God gives it, but it has to come from you through God. You can't, there's no way of getting it, no way of getting it. You can go to have self-worth and self-value, you can go to Los Angeles and San Francisco, all these courses, but it doesn't happen. Holiness is something, it's a gift. You think you're holy, not holy, there's nothing to do with holiness. No. So then, what can man, God says, Kedoshim Tiyu, I want you to become holy. So what do you have to do to become holy? What do you do? What do I do to get the gift of holiness? So, the Ramban and Rashi learn Kedusha. Stay away. He says, elevate yourself, and then you'll get holiness. You elevate yourself to hold value, we'll explain right away. So automatically you stay away from the money. How can you, as an image of God, such an intelligent person, such a sweet person, such a kind person, how can you do those things? There's two ways of doing it. Say, don't do it, it's bad, you can punish it, very you don't like it. Or I can say to you, again, such an important person, such a sweet person, such a kind, intelligent person. I can't just sit around. I just mind or I can that's you. Yeah, you. So what does the person feel? Yes, I can do it. I want to do it. You lock yourself in. You build yourself up a little higher. You lock the person in, and this is really Slabodki Yeshiva. Slabodki Yeshiva is called Gadlus Adam, the greatness of man. When man is great, a woman is great. I say man, a woman is great. So then, it stays you away. It says, Dahainu dapo yetzer shel chashivas. The result is naturally staying away and separating yourself. But it has an added part to it. According to Rashi, just stay away. But when you elevate your mitromain, you elevate yourself. What's the word? Lehit romain. Everybody. Lehit romain. Elevate yourself. Elevate. What's the word? Lehit romain. Elevate. From all the world, the mundane things, the common things. You want to be mediocre? Commonplace? Average? You want to be special? Different? Important, worthy, valuable. It changes the word. Then, how are you makadish yourself? What act do you have to do that you become holy? Because no, holiness comes from Hashem. So, Rashi and Ramban learn what? Stay away. What does Slabodka say as of share? Lehit romain, elevate, value. If you're valuable, you're high, and then you can't do the lowly things. Not only that, you're high, so you can't do the lowly things. So that's the basic concept that he says.
It's like in Alenu, you're supposed to, all the Shmooz, you're supposed to just stand up when you say Hashem's name. You're standing up.
Yes.
Because Hashem wants you, when you
Let's say.
Hashem doesn't want us to be meek, downtrodden. He wants us to have a little...
He wants, what is spiritual? You elevate, pray, elevate, but why is that?
You have to stand up and feel...
Yeah, but it's not a fake out, it's a real thing, but why is that? We're going to explain it right away. So, Lord explained this, so he changed the concept. This is Slabodka, Yeshiva. Kedusha, what do you do to become Kodesh? You take from him. Value. Worth. Not just stay away. Of course you're going to stay away from holy things. And of course, you don't do those things. But you gain one step Elevate yourself to the degree of who you are really and what you want. Okay. So now we start with the Gemara Brachas. The Gemara Brachas takes a similar pasuk, which is in Vayikra Yud Aleph Mem Dalet. What's that? Ani Hashem Elokeichem. This is in Parshas Shmini. We're talking about Parshas Kedoshim, which we're talking about. Really, there's another pasuk that's somewhat similar. Is I am the Lord your God. V'hit kadishchem. You shall make yourself holy. V'yisem kedosh. You become holy. Why? Ki kodesh ani. I am holy. Which means just like I, Hashem, is holy, I want you to be holy. In Vayikra, in Kedoshim, it says similar to that. Kedoshim to you should be holy. Ki Ani Hashem. Here it says V'skadishtem. Repeat it again. You shall make yourself. So the Gemara in Brachas translate this in a different way. A little different. It says, this kadishtem, it says, this is before you eat, you have to wash your hands. Kol mayim what? Rishon. Yisem kedoshim, become holy, is mayim achron. After you eat, wash your hands. Ki kodosh, you have to, years ago they put on their skin, they put oil, nice oil. Okay? Ani Hashem Elokeichem, I am Lord your God. What does that mean? Birkat HaMazon. So that was very interesting. Before you eat, you have to have cleanliness. Because we know, among the non-Jews, cleanliness is next to godliness. But cleanliness, if we know Mishir, is the negative part. The positive part is holy. You first clean yourself. And then you make yourself ready to be holy. But holy is a different process. It's a positive thing. God has to give you these same things to become holy. Torah or pure means you're not clean. So how do you clean yourself? So normally you wash your hands, take a shower, you feel clean. When you feel clean, you feel a certain sense elevated. You feel good about yourself. When you're dirty, you feel down and out, tired, sluggish. Like it's hot, you feel not good. Okay. So the rabbis understood that when you eat, you have to make a blessing on your food, and you make a blessing according to the Torah after you eat. Yochalta, v'sobota, v'arachta. Right? You say shit and you make a blessing, and that's one of the blessings of the Torah. Blessings of the Torah. From the Torah you have to bless. So comes the rabbis and say, how can you bless God unless you're pure? So first of all, you have to wash your hands before you make you eat the food. That's called ma'imachar. You show them to wash your hands with the spirit. Doesn't mean your hands are dirty. It means spiritually you take the cup, you fill it up, and you make sure there's no bumps on it like here, and you pour here twice here on the side. Right? So make your hands holy. And after you make your hands holy, then you eat. Make your blessing on bread. So you eat it, then you wash your hands before you make a blessing. Some people with oil. Then you say bread and some why? Because eating the food, the table is like a sacrifice, like an altar. And eating is an elevation to give you strength. You have to ask permission from God. The world is His. In order to eat, when you eat it, you appreciate it. Then you have to appreciate, you have to ask Him permission. Otherwise it's still, then you make your blessing. If you make your blessing, and you eat, then you thank Him again. Now, we know that the table again is like a mizbeah. The food is like a sacrifice. And you food's supposed to be elevate you to a spiritual life. Not just to fill yourself up like Asa, just as you're hungry. It's supposed to give you energy in order to what? Worship God. So then the food's supposed to give you elevation and energy, not after you eat, you fall asleep from overeating or exhaustion, but eating is supposed to give you what? Energy for what? To live, or a purpose in living, which is what? Worship God, doing mitzvahs, doing good deeds. So the food's supposed to give you energy in order to do the right things of life, to get close to God. So therefore, again, the food, you want to elevate it from the food, to energy, and you want to get that energy in your body, you want to elevate yourself to do higher things as a human being. Because if you're tired and like that, can you work, can you do anything? No way. You're exhausted, you're shocking. So if you need the food, okay? Now let's say the table is a place for a sacrifice, an altar. Now we know when the Kohen does the avoda, can he do the avoda when he's smelly and sweaty? No. It's absurd. Kohen cannot do worship in the temple if he smells bad or he's sweaty. So therefore, since when we're eating the food, we're thinking it's not like it's central. We think of the temple, yes, and we want to elevate ourselves in our spirituality. If even though we don't have the temple, we eat the food. It's not exactly that spiritual. We want to remember the temple. So therefore, we wash our hands like we're a Kohen Gadol or the regular Kohen wash their hands in the avodah, in the worship, in the temple. So therefore, it's to elevate, to make us clean, Tziyon, clean. And then when you get rid of the zoam or that sweat, then you're able to participate and elevate the food. You should elevate the food. Then you're ready to say Birkat HaMazon, blessing Hashem, and you're ready. So basically, they use this text because the common people understand. This is only from the rabbis, because the common people understand cleanliness is next to godliness. So how can you pray being dirty? Like when you pray, you want to clean the table off, to get organized nice. Because clean feels good. Orderly, harmony, cleanliness. Okay. So that would be on the negative part. But on the positive part, you have to do certain things for hit domain that elevate you. On the negative, how can you pray when your hands are dirty, you're sweating, all that? So the answer is no. So now we got to elevate. How do we elevate? So I want to give you an example or two of elevation. In the portion of the week we talk about, right? It says be holy. So it says, very interesting. Be holy. So you have to feed your mother and father. You got to keep Shabbos. What does your mother and father have to do with holiness? So now, it's hard to understand. But according to Isaac's share, it becomes understandable. What is holiness in him is elevate, give value. So now, if you're going to give value to your parents, not because the Torah says honor thy father and mother, and therefore you're not honoring your father and mother and you're bad and no good. You got to honor thy father and mother from the commandment of the Torah. But let's take it from the sense of elevation. Elevation. That's right. That's elevation. Maybe your parents brought you in the world. Fun. You're an accident. Who knows why you came in? Who says you came in with holiness? Who says your parents saw something? So yet the Torah says that you have to feed your parents, you have to honor your parents. So what's the connection? So we have to give value to the fact that your parents brought you in the world. And when you give value to your parents in the world, then already the picture changed. I want to change the picture for you. Let's understand. Let's see the picture now from the viewpoint of a parent. We say there are three partners in the world. When a child is born, there's a part that the mother gives from her body, a It's usually, and there's a part, there's the meat and other parts of the body. The man gives certain parts to the body. And the other part is the Almighty gives, is the soul. In other words, even today, what do we say? There are chromosomes. Man has 23, the woman has 23, put together. You have the chromosomes together, it doesn't make life. You need a spirit, something of the soul. So then we now have the human being created. Now, we say that the parent becomes a partner with the Almighty in the creation of human beings. We all know that, Rabbi. What's the big thing? Let's look at it again. If we add the word, like Isaac shared, value, so why does that give you value to your parents? Why value to them? Why is that value? Well, the value is that, let's see 1 second. What was created? Human being. So your parents were part of creation of being. Now what is human being? Again, an image of God, that when he does an act in this world, it's not like an animal does an act, it's forgotten, or it's only or a human being that does it, that's in the newspapers, it's written in report. When you do any act in this world, it's nitzchi. Nitzchi means what? Eternal. And you in this world, ding-a-ling-a-ling, you're not corresponding to the next world. You do it with pureness, holiness, and then you have a part in the next world, and that act you did is pure, holy, good. You do an act that's 30% good, so in the next world you'll have angels that are only 30%. They don't have hands, they don't have feet, no eyes, but somehow they're a heart. If you do it for 50%, they'll have 5 fingers. Empty, the other 5 fingers are gone. If you did it with fullness, you'll have the angels with 10 fingers, 10 toes. So what I mean? So it depends what quality you do your act in this world will be exactly what you're going to get in the next one, which is mitzvah, which is eternal. So now you created a person. Now what's a person? Well, according to the genes of 23 genes for a man and 23 for a woman, according to the calculations, not Rabbi Goldstein, calculation of books. There's a fellow called Dale Carnegie. Anybody? Dale Carnegie. Yeah. So in his book, in Dale Carnegie, he tells you that from the permutations of 23 chromosomes in a man and 23 in a woman will come out 300 billion possibilities. So since the creation of the world, every individual has a chance to be one of the 300 billion possibilities. Since we know in the Mishnah, in Sanhedrin, everybody's created different, you know? Everybody's different, everybody's special, everybody is worthwhile. The whole world is created for you. Every human being. In other words, we said, before a person, I'll explain to you, before a person is born in this world, so what do? So we know the story. The baby's in the mother's stomach, and then 2 things have to learn the Torah, and also that they go, they see what's happening in the beginning of the world to the end of the world, and also before they come into the world, they make a shivua, they swear, and when we ask what are you going to be, you have to be free true, what are you going to be when you get to the world? You're going to be God-fearing, how are you going to do? And there's another quality would be is that since the whole world is created for every single individual, how do we know that? Because when the Almighty created the world, so He created first one person, Adam. That means the whole universe of all the beautiful trees and all the thousands of different types of fish and birds and plants and flowers and galaxies that exist is made for who? For one individual. So therefore, we said that each individual the world was made specially for you. Therefore, you make a vow, they make you swear, and then they ask you, what are you going to do in this world? What's special going to do in this world? That nobody else has ever done since the time of creation. And you say, well, I look at the world, that give me a chance as a baby, you see the beginning of the world, the end of the world. Say, I'm going to do something, I'm going to dedicate myself to Torah. I'm going to be a tzaddikus. I'm going to bring wonderful children to the world. I'm going to make my husband happy. I'm going to do this, whatever it is decide to do. But, I see, out of the 300 billion possibilities, I see that you're a very special person. It's worthwhile smile that the world is created for you. So you make your swear, make your sign on a piece of paper, and now you're created to do this special thing that nobody has done. 300 million people have, not only you, and the only one in the world. So now let's figure out, you have a wonderful world created only for you, and your soul is eternal in the sense if you do something here, then in the next world, every act you do is special. You made a whole world just for who? For you. Now, we go back to your parents. Your parents are now part of creation. And they brought you into the world as a human being, as a soul, and a special soul that has eternity in it and do mitzvahs. And the whole world's created for this one person, which is you. What does that mean if your parents are good or bad? So now, you've elevated your parents to the degree that, either they wanted or not, that they did something great in the world by being part of this creation. Now, why were they part of the creation? Who knows? Maybe they were good in the last world and this world. We don't know why. We don't know why. But they're part of creation. And therefore, this great, wonderful, valuable world was created. And you as a valuable person is created in this wonderful, great world. Whatever you do, there's such important value. So therefore, your parents are also valuable in this world. Because you became a partner with your already. Okay? Therefore, in order to be holy, you must elevate. Elevate what? Value. Your parents, yourself, the world, the spiritual world. Anytime you do a mitzvah, a good deed, it has spiritual, like an atomic bomb. So now you come back. Now you put it back into the world. And now I tell you, okay, go ahead. Now you're in this world. You're already 13, 12 and a half. Right? X year, 12 and a half plus. Right? Now, what's special? How do you act? You act with dignity. You act with honor. You act special. You take your role as a human being, as a Jew, to act in a special way. If I took pictures of you in your home with your husband and with your children, is that how a great person would act? Is that how I would say Sarah acts, and Rivka acts, and Rachel acts? Is that how are you in that caliber? Well, why shouldn't you be? God created every individual, and the whole world is made for you. And therefore, you want, the purpose of holiness is a demand, is to elevate yourself. So you're a prince. How does a princess eat? She gobbles the food down. Before she eats, she puts the tablecloth down. She insists. She has all the world and all the time. What's the problem? She's a princess. And all the world. A regular king and a princess are limited. You know, the castles are limited. When you have the whole world there for you, made specially for you. What's the problem? Put on the tablecloth. You have a menu, what you want to eat. You look at the menu, so whatever you get it. And we have beautiful plates, and eat it slowly, with energy, and energy in order to what? To make a blessing, wash my hands first. Again, to be holy, to be able to eat the food, thank God, and ask permission to eat. Don't grab it, ask permission by a blessing. And then I say the Almighty's name. And we know Asher Kiddushanu, each mitzvah gives you holiness, spirituality, uplifts you to a higher degree. And then you eat gulp it down, or you chew your food like the teeth 32 times, they say in the health books. How do you eat? Relax, happy. Does the food, are you asking the food give you energy, or good taste, or grabbing the lust of the world? What are you eating? And you know you're being televised, because everything you do here is in the next world. And the table is an altar, right? And you have to make a blessing. So by giving value and understand who you are and what you want, you say, "Come on, Rabbi." Well, it's very simple. Chas v'sholom, somebody's sick in the hospital. What do they give to just have another day, another hour to breathe? You say, "What is money? What is anyway? What's my fight with my friend anyway? Life." So you yourself know the value of life when it comes to patient child. So now that you have life, and you have the wonderful things, how come you don't act like an image of God, a Jewish person? To give value of being holy, of special, of dignity, of pride. And God watches you, and He holds you as princess, your chosen people, wonderful person. And the same thing will be is in doing anything. In stealing. How can you stoop so low? Or judging somebody. When you judge somebody or judge, you give the money and you cheat. So then it says that you're not doing din. Therefore, one who does din, who does the things properly, also becomes a partner with the Almighty in the world. Again, the same story. And every time you do a mitzvah, again, the same story. The world is 50-50. You do one mitzvah, so you help yourself, so you change the balance of the world and change the whole universe. So I tell over a story. Maybe I told you already. I tell you over a Hasidic story over again. This time I told you a story. Anyway, I told you last week, but I'll tell it again. But I want to explain it this way a little bit. That a man went to his Rabbi, and his Rabbi said to him, give this money for tzedakah, and Hashem will help you. He said, I need the money for this. I said, give the money. I'll give you a blessing. Then you'll always have money. Okay.
Can I make a copy?
Oh, I'm sorry. I give you a blessing. You got always money. He said, I want to meet one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. I tell you this story. Lamed Vav Tzadikim. I'll tell it again. Lamed Vav Tzadikim, one of the 36 righteous people in the world. So, he says, okay. Rabbi didn't like it, but he needed the money to help save somebody. So he took the money, so I'll let you have one of the Lamed. See one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim, but on a condition that what? That you, at the right time. Good. So he gives the money to the Rabbi. Rabbi gives him a bracha. He has all the time money. He becomes rich. He's waiting every day to meet one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. It's one of the 36 righteous people. So, after a couple of years, he comes to Rabbi and says, now you're ready to go to sleep. So Rabbi says, he said, listen, you go down the alley over here, and go to the city here, and this place over there, and you'll go to this house, and you'll see one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. So he goes there. Goes to the streets, goes to the ring, and he gets there, and it's really late at night, it's dark, almost 12 o'clock, so he gets there, and he goes and sees this light in the house, he goes and peeks through the window, and he sees that there's a little tailor. There's a Hasidic story. It's a tailor, selling. At 12 o'clock at night, he wants to see the Lamed Vav Tzadik, so what does he do? He says, how can I knock on the door? It's not night. So he rips his pants, the window. And he knocks on the door and says, listen, I got to fix my pants. Okay, good. What do I want to do? I'm stuck. I need to fix my pants. So he says, come in, no problem. Sits down. And meanwhile, another person comes in and says, I want to watch how you fix the world. So meanwhile, he does other things. He waits his turn. He doesn't take off his pants. And he takes off his pants. He covers them over. And he starts sewing. As the tailor puts in the needle, he feels a pain in his body. And he pulls out, in other words, he's pulling out the thread going out as if it's in his body. This goes on, all the time, and he's fixing. And then he fixes the pants, and he gives it back to him. And he looks in, he goes out, puts on his pants, he leaves the place, and all of a sudden he feels in his body calmness, totality, and his different parts come together. He feels everything. So he goes back to the Rabbi, and listen, what happened? So the story goes on, but the basic story is very simple. Whatever you do affects the world. So you think by you sewing, by you being kind to your husband, to your children, it just can act by itself. The answer is no. It also fixes yourself. By you being kind, what happens? You give charity. When you helping, you elevate yourself. You fix your inner being of yourself. And the same way you do good, you also affect the world. You affect your family. You affect the world. Let's call it tzaddik yisrael. You affect the whole universe. So therefore, we're very, very simple. Whatever you do, since the world was created for you, and you're the most important person, and then everything that's done has an effect that you do. So therefore, it comes out that when you sow, it's not just sowing. When you do chesed, it's not just kindness. When you do a mitzvah, lighting the Friday night candle, not just that. It's a whole universe. And therefore, when you elevate yourself to understand who you are and what you are in the world, it changes your perspective, your value, it gives you dignity. So it's not a headspace and a trip. It's real. and it changes your understanding. And that's what holiness is about. Holiness is elevating yourself. As you elevate, you can't do those lowly things. You have to act differently. You have to think differently. You have to have a different perspective in life. And that's what the Almighty demands from every Jew. To be a holy people. It doesn't mean that those people are low life and you're different, you're special. It means that you have to act in a dignified, proper manner of justice, morality, kindness. And you don't look down on anybody, because everybody has a world of his own. And every human being is an image of God. But you have to know your value. And this gives a certain honor and dignity to the person. And that's what is meant according to the Isaac shares Slabotna, God Musar. I want to read another little piece here, which I saw in Divrei Rabbi Yonason. I want to say it over. An interesting little, big Kiddush, that's all. I want to hear. There's a Gemara in Sanhedrin, Lamed Tes somehow. Talks about somebody who was complaining to one of the rabbis about that the Almighty in the world. Now we know when we get up in the morning, we don't say that God did not make us an animal. Why? Because a human being is entirely different than an animal. We can get up in the morning and say, thank God I am not a slave. Thank God I'm not this. But in other words, in comparison to another human being, you can thank God that you're special and different. Now again, different means what? Everybody in the world is different. We arrived at that one from the Mishnah in Sanhedrin. Everybody in the world is different. God didn't make just a stamp and he put everybody like a coin, the same coin, like manufacturing coins. Everybody is special. We said there's 300 billion different possibilities, and they all come out into everybody is different. Everybody is special. Because I'm different, I don't believe that you can be me and I can be you. But it doesn't mean I can't demand a standard of you reaching certain standards or certain mitzvahs or do it in a certain way. The way you'll do it will be special in your way. But everybody's special and different. I don't have to push my trip on you or your trip on me. But there's certain standards that is a demand for everything. And therefore when it comes, when we bless Hashem, we say we are different. In fact, we're different, that means that what? That we have similarities, but different also. We are more similar than different. Now, since we're special, we have to know our special different. But you have to know we have similarities with the world. We have to keep up to certain standards as a human being for the positive common qualities that we have. The way we may do it, or the special thoughts that we have, or the creative ideas that we have, that's ours. And the way you make your home special, warm, happy, is your creativity. The way you raise your children is your creativity. You're given that space as if you're God in a certain sense. If you're now in your domain, you're the boss. The little child can't do anything, you're the boss. Nobody can tell you what to do. Maybe they get a little older, they don't like it, they run to the government, they run to the police, they run to the lawyer, and you're not allowed to hit me, talk to me. But when they're little children at least, you're still in control of handling them, guiding them. You have to guide them and work it out right. Because each child is a blessing. Each child is different. And you're special. That gives you another aspect, but there's also things in common. In general human being also has particular qualities. I wanted to tell you, anything else you like? Any question? Yeah. Okay.
According to Chinese medicine, the brain in the body is responsible for taking the life force out of food.
Take what?
Taking the life force out of food and making a fine mist and raising it up to the remainder of the body for energy. And when a person has a weakened spleen, what happens is everything sort of stagnates and doesn't really move. And I was wondering if a lot of people have this problem with a weakened spleen, I was wondering if it has anything to do with, like what you said, sitting down to a meal, if maybe a person would sort of direct their energies to like the Shulchan Aruch and Hashem and the getting energy from their food, that maybe they would remedy that problem.
I explained last week, when you weren't here, I explained the story of Alex Carell. Alex Carell, I told you about him. He was Hitler's spiritual mentor. And it was most people, intellectuals of America in the world, their spiritual mentor. And what he believed in biology, the survival of the fittest, only the fit should live, and all the people who are sick, degenerate, should be killed and destroyed. The world believed in it, and that's why the world did not fight Hitler in killing the Jews or the political riffraff or the gypsies. What?
He killed the retarded.
Retarded, everything. After all. Now, even he, there's an article in the Yeshiva, I tell you about it, that he believed the power of prayer. That prayer, holding on to something higher for it, he's energizing. Okay? That's a fact. That's a medical fact that they know about. And they even though they may not be religious, but they know the power of energizing it. So the same thing is, they understand, except the problem with them is they go limited to capitalism, communism, fascism, Zionism, whatever it may be, to a limited part. But if you really collect to God, you're able to shoot up high. So now let's say the mechanics of the spleen does it. But if you will take the energy of belief in God, and take and then nobody, the human has a tremendous amount of energy. And the magic force, mental force, is a tremendous force for people. It's not just, even he says that these are force are real. He saw it, he's a doctor, and he's a scientist. They know these forces in the human being. People are sick, they get better from prayer, they get better from energy. Everybody knows this stuff. Nobody, question, how do you get it? You're sick, and that's another problem. But they know about it. So the same, if you take, when you eat the food, and it's going to change in the spleen, and you direct that energy to a higher force, lehit romain, and evaluate it and move it with your mind and your soul, collect to God, and you want to worship Him, and you want to do the most, your whole being, and you want to get energy from it and use it for mitzvahs and life force, it definitely should increase the energy of any of that. In other words, it definitely is there physically, in the physical, but you have to, the human being is able to magnify it, multiply it, quadruple that energy. And that's the belief in God.
And that's maybe the remedy. Instead of just herb, that's maybe the remedy.
With the herb, because again, the body is physical and spiritual. You can't separate the two. But you have to elevate the bodily functions in a spiritual way. That's the whole secret. And then it would work.
Then why couldn't it be that a person, if they're really focusing their energy, that would remedy the body?
It does.
It does. Without the herb.
We can do without the herb, but we're not great enough to do without the herbs. We need the herbs, we need the medicine. We need it because we're low. But if we were high, we wouldn't need it. But these are the things that people don't have enough belief, etc. Don't think you have it. It's not so simple. So you take the remedies, the herb, whatever, and you use those forces to elevate, and you'll change. How's this?
I have a few questions. First of all, it's not enough to just work on the cleanliness. Like some people never get beyond cleanliness.
Right.
They're so working so hard to always keep everything clean, they don't get to elevate themselves and do something a little that's going to a little more.
They get stuck in the cleaning syndrome. Yeah.
But the holiness comes. You have to beyond just keeping these clean. You have to make time and place for something
to elevate you, right? 100% right. 100% I agree. 100%. Any other question?
I also wanted to ask one other thing. But how can a person, let's say, is a person able to always try and feel like a princess and like a dignified, like you want to always feel that way, even when you're not being treated that way? Like, for example, we work really hard. We don't act like,
So they give the example.
Sometimes you don't, you feel more like a slave.
example of Ruth. Ruth was a reject. Ruth was a reject. She married, her husband died. She went to Chutz La'aretz with her mother-in-law. When she came back, they look at that degraded person. Husband died, nobody. Poor as anything, no money. A beggar. So normally, she should lose all her dignity as a human being. Yet, when Boaz looked at her, what did he see? Dignity. She would sneeze. Usually a woman that's low life, you're already in the street begging and you have no personal self-value. She lost. What did she have? She kept modesty. She kept for herself her dignity and personal respect. So he recognized that and was, this is a special woman. He saw in her an act of a princess. Dignity. So that's why I say, it's with you and God and how you feel. It's not the situation. Situations come and go. It's how you view it, what's in the way. You have to run away after it. Anyway, here's the next week. I just hope